Get a notification. Got it. So we're going live now on Facebook. Hello, Facebook friends. We are here live, just getting ourselves together. Okay. Super. Let me just get us on Instagram. Okay, now we're live on both channels. So
Yay!
we are here with another episode of our Jam 2 series, interviewing artists, vendors, and healers on our lineup. And I'm stoked to have, and I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, I feel like.
It's okay.
Please tell me the correct pronunciation.
Oyámie.
Oyámie. See, I knew
Mhm.
it and then forgot. Oyámie, who's with us, who's going to be driving up from Yogaville to share 2 workshops on dance and yoga. And she has been with us before at our event in Asheville that we did a few years ago, our pre-jam. So she hasn't been to our full-on 4-day event yet. So I'm very excited for her to bring her energy and for her to see our growth and to see what it's like to do this on a multi-day level. So I would love for you to introduce yourself, tell us about you and what you're excited about for Flow Jam and what you'll be offering.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is
Once,
Oyámie
keep
Kalima.
going. My tea is just, sorry, my tea is boiling. Hold on 1 second. Keep going.
It's okay. Go ahead. Hi, everyone. My name is Oyámie Kalima, and I am really excited to be part of Flow Jam. As Meredith has said, I actually was part of the Flow Jam family back in 2019, and I traveled with them in Asheville to do workshops and help set up with the pre-jams and things like that. And I actually did make it to the actual festival, but I literally just taught my workshop and I had to leave because there was a wedding that I had to get to. So yes, I didn't actually get the opportunity to actually experience the fullness of Flow Jam. So I'm really, really excited this year to be a part of the family. I am a somatic healer, a sensual embodiment coach, a movement artist, and a yoga teacher. And yes, I am going to be sharing 2 offerings, one of them being Body Liberation Journey, and then the other one is going to be a yoga class, which is based off on the type of yoga that we teach here at Yogaville, which is integral yoga. So I'm
Mm.
really excited for all of you guys to come and experience the different journeys that I'm gonna be offering. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited to be a part of the community, part of being with friends and people that I am talking to about Flow Jam. I'm like, it's like one big family because I was like, it's very local. It's gonna be a lot of people from the DC area, Virginia, Philly, just along the East Coast. So I think that idea of being with friends and family is very exciting for a lot of people and feels very safe too, to allow yourself to be seen. So yeah, I'm just really excited to just be myself with everyone and hope that there's space to connect, to get to know each other, and to dance together, to laugh together, to celebrate together, and to have fun. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
We
very
got some
excited.
waves on Instagram. Hey. So,
Hello.
yeah, I forgot about that. You came to our event when we had it in Lovettsville at that big
Yes.
farm.
Yes.
That was a
Yes.
nice space. Well, I'm very excited for you to see this new space. Well, new as in like, since 2020.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are super happy to be at Verdun and to bring this family together
Mhm.
that has been growing over the past 10 years. So it is like, I've been asking a lot of people, like, what is it about Flow Jam that is like different from other festivals or different from, just anything else? And they're like, well, I think it's because people keep coming back year after year. So you see a lot of the same people and you're able to like actually grow real relationships with. I think I interviewed another person from the band Wild, and he came with his band, which is now Wild, but it was Surprise Attack. And I think that they were playing the year that you came in Lovettsville. And he mentioned when I, kind of inquired that, because it's so local and because a lot of the people are coming from, areas that we can actually like drive to versus like
Yeah.
the West Coast, that it's really just like a different experience than going to, either a bigger festival or someplace that's not that close to your hometown, that you can actually build relationships and keep them going. I've had a lot of people comment on, hey, like, I'm still friends with this person I met at Flow Jam, and I actually now do business with this first person I met at Flow Jam. I sold my house because of a person I met at Flow Jam,
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is really awesome to see it grow and thrive. And I'm so happy to be bringing
Mm,
back people like you that like were helpful, and are very kind of like when we decided that we were actually, okay, going for it and going to be a festival. And now, to have more influence and, people becoming more and more aware of it. It's really special
yeah.
to have you guys come back and see the growth and, continue to be a part of the family, not just because you're on our lineup, but because like you're a part of the family.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I looked at the list of teachers and healers and contributors that are going to be at the festival, and there are a lot of names that I recognize that I have seen and bumped into in different events around DC or at other local festivals. So it's just going to be so nice to have all of us in the same place and reconnect, because some of these people I haven't seen since 2018 or 2019. So seeing their
Mhm.
name on the list, I'm super excited. I was like, oh my God, yay. This gives me an opportunity to reconnect with them again and be in their presence and breathe and take in and absorb whatever it is that they're offering, so that
Mm.
is quite exciting. I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Yay. Okay. Me too. It's
Yeah.
coming up. It's super close. Like, what's today?
Yeah.
Today's Wednesday. Literally next week, I'm going to
Yep.
be camping on the property. Our
Yep.
glamping tents are going to be
Yep.
set up, and then our gates are going to open the next day. It's
Yep.
kind of like as we get closer, it's almost like time for me just becomes one big like moment, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden I'm there and the gates open and people start arriving and you start to see the manifestation come to life, because you never
Mm.
know like what's gonna happen, what's gonna transpire. But I always know that it's gonna be like super, like you can't come to Flow Jam and not have a good time. Like
Right, right, right.
there's just
It's the jam.
it's the jam. It's a flow
Yeah.
jam. You got the healing, you got the jam part, it's like a well-rounded selection of healers and then entertainers,
Mm.
musicians who, might not be in the healing world, but they like also love and appreciate the classes. I spoke to one of our headliners from Consider the Source. They're going to be teaching a master class on music at
Mm.
5 p.m. on Saturday before their set. They're going to be closing out the main stage, but they're phenomenal musicians. And one of the comments that they made when I was interviewing them was like, we're so glad that we found this like jam scene. And for me, like when I started Flow Jam, I honestly didn't have any idea of like what jam music was. I mean, I knew kind of, but I didn't really know who Fish was or any of that. So like, it's just become part of this um event now. And so he was saying how, we really appreciate getting into these types of festivals because you actually have like all these workshops and, you're actually like transforming people versus like just going to listen to music and then not
Mhm.
having, the support to, facilitate growth and expansion after you leave the gates. So anyways, I'm glad that you're going to come back and feel the full vibe. How did you get started in your healing journey? Like you live in Yogaville now, you've dedicated your life to this healing modalities,
Mm.
So where did that start? And I think when we first met, you had maybe just moved to Yogaville
Mhm.
or yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
you're still there. So
Yeah,
tell
still
me
here.
like
Yeah.
how you ended up here, where you are now.
Yeah. To make a long story short, I think
Yeah.
everything pretty much started for me back in like towards the end of 2014, the beginning of 2015 is when I kind of started taking yoga classes at Yoga District, which I know a lot of people probably at the festival are part of that community as well. Um, and when I started practicing yoga, like many people, I went because of the physical asana, because I wanted to see what this yoga thing is all about. And I ended up staying because there was something happening internally that I've never experienced before. And I was quite curious to want to know what that thing is. And I very shortly after practicing yoga, maybe a year and a half, that curiosity deepened. And because of my need to want to know more, I ended up doing my 200-hour teacher training, and that just burned like more fire of curiosity within me. And I was like, this is not enough. I need more. I need more. Where can I go to get more? And I went online looking for other types of yoga teacher training in the DC area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, um, back in 2015, again, I'm going to go back a little bit. I went to a festival called PAX,
Mm.
and I met a girl who was sharing her experience. Um, she lived in an ashram in upstate New York. I don't remember the name, but she was sharing her experience of, how she gets up every day and meditates and do yoga and all this, does all these like scripture studies and all these things. And at the time, that was kind of like the ideal lifestyle I was kind of looking for. And so that really motivated me. So after finishing my 200-hour teacher training, I went online to look for additional yoga teacher training in the DC area. And Yogaville actually came up and they were offering a 50-hour yin yoga teacher training. So when I reached out to them, and then when I realized that it was an ashram, I was like, oh my God, do you guys have a residential program? And if you do, can you send me information about it? And they did, and I read through it, and it's like, oh, you have to do 1 month commitment. I was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work. I am working full time. I have to pay rent. I have my own place, all these things. I was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work. But then a year later, I was done. So I like quit my job, gave up everything, put my stuff in storage, did a little traveling, and then I ended up at the ashram for the residential program, and I was able to find everything that I was looking for, that I was needing. And I was just sharing this with someone a couple of weeks ago. I was like, there's always this saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. In
Yes.
my case, it wasn't a physical person. In my case, it was this place. Like I was ready for this place when it came to me. Because once I came here, I was so absorbed into the practice of yoga in all aspects of it, not just hatha yoga, but yana yoga, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, like all of it. And how I transitioned from that to where I am now is I've always loved dancing, right? I was born and raised in West Africa, and as a kid, one of the things that
Where in West Africa?
the Gambia,
Oh,
yeah,
very
my
cool.
little tiny country, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. So growing up as a kid, one of the things that I love is going to community gatherings where there are people drumming, there's storytellers, there's opportunity to move and dance, and there wasn't any restriction imposed on how we move. It's just genuinely having a good time, and and I kind of sort of just I stopped moving for a while in terms of like really giving my body the space that it needed to freely move and express itself. I feel like since I came to the state, I didn't really have access to that. So once I got to the ashram, I'm doing like, all these yoga practices, which were beautiful and deeply nourishing. But I started to feel like something was missing. And for me, what was missing was the integration. And I wasn't really sure exactly what that was, but I just knew something like deep down inside, something was missing. And I just remember one day in the middle of the night, this was probably maybe like midnight or 1 in the morning, I don't know. I don't remember the time exactly. I just felt this deep, deep calling to just get up and play music and start dancing.
Mm.
And I did that. And I was moving on my own in my room for like 2 hours. And I just literally remember this overwhelming, ecstatic feeling of joy and bliss. And I just remember just collapsing on the floor and laughing and crying at the same time because I felt like my body was finally able to release so much of what I've been holding on to for decades. And I just remember coming out of that experience saying, oh my God, everyone needs to have access to this. I need to create space where people can come and feel safe enough to truly allow their body to fully express. I was like, I have to do this, I have to do this. And that motivation just kept me going. And that's how I ended up connecting with you in 2019, because that particular incident, well, I shouldn't say incident, but that particular awakening happened, I think, towards the tail end of 2018. Um,
Mm.
so by like 2019, when like the festival season was coming up, I was like, I have to go to as many festivals as possible because I
Yeah.
want to make sure that everyone has access to this. And fast forward to now, I just keep doing my own practice, and through my own practice, I kept learning, and also really got into somatics and embodiment, and doing a lot of trainings in those different modalities, and trying to figure out how to pretty much integrate everything that I have learned through my own lived experience, but also through the educational programs and courses that I have taken. So what I'm bringing to Flow Jam is going to be an integration of so much of what I have learned, but also just through my own experience of knowing what it feels like when we give space and permission to truly connect with our body, to connect with our soma, and that blissful, joyful feeling that comes about. Like, I want to guide people to that. So I'm really excited for the space to truly be open and free and be seen, and to co-create a container where we can go on a journey together and experience our bodies in all the different ways they might show up for us. So
I love
yeah,
it.
that's my little story right there with that.
I love it. I woke up and I started dancing, and my dog like gets into it too. And then he wants me to chase him around the house. And I'm like, no,
Yeah,
I'm dancing. I'm
yeah,
dancing. I'm not chasing you.
yeah.
It feels really good to wake up and dance. Yes. So we have,
Mm,
if I get all the edits out, we'll have the schedule out today for everyone, but it's gonna be so, you're gonna just like fall in love with this property, because one of the workshop spaces that you're gonna be in is the pine forest.
yes.
And it's literally like you walk up and there's just these pine trees that have been planted
Mm,
in like one chunk. And then they have like a big fire pit, like a stone fire pit in the center, and it's really amazing. So
mm,
yeah,
that
I'm
sounds awesome.
yeah, I'm excited. Like, I don't think we've had a dance class in there before. So there's been sound healing and all that stuff, but like I'm excited to see how like how freeing it is to be dancing in the trees. Like,
Mm,
yeah.
I like that.
So
I have to find a way to integrate that. Maybe do some tree hugging or something like that. We'll see.
yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna make sure that we've got some like videographer there that's capturing some of that, because that space is one of my favorite spaces.
Mm,
It's kind of like far off the beaten path. But it's really special when you get there. People are like, well, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And then you walk in and you're like, oh, the trees.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
what since you've like, given up everything in the DC like area, and as far as like you had a place that you were renting and job and all that, like what was, what was like that point where you decided that you were ready? Like what happened, or like
Mm.
what was that moment? Because I know that there are a lot of people that come to Flow Jam and they're in this transition space of like, what I'm doing right now isn't really what I want to be doing. It's kind of soul sucking, or, I feel trapped, whatever, but I'm scared to go out and like actually do the things that I want to do because of money, because of, family, time, whatever, ego. Like, I know that for me, giving up a lot was hard because I was attached to the institution, the
Mm.
label that I was working for, and it made me feel like I was smart and powerful, and to give all of it up is like hard. It's an ego. For me, it was like so many ego deaths. I had to go through like just 1,001 ego deaths to like be able to be here now and to really like step into this fully. Cause I think even when you first came, like I was still like, what am I doing? What is this possible? Can I do this? Do people want this? Like, is this something I can do full time?
Mm.
Like what, so maybe like, what was that, you mentioned like you just had enough. Was there
Mm.
something that you had to like coach yourself on, or like, were you afraid of money, like not having any, like what was that? Like, how'd you kind of fully take that step?
Yeah, I mean, I think the uncertainty of all of it is definitely very scary. And I've been very independent and, pretty much being on my own and doing my own thing since like my early 20s. And I was just thinking about this. I was like, I think the last time I remember asking my parents for anything was when I was in high school, right? Because I just like to do everything on my own. So to
Mhm.
get to a place where you're like, I'm just going to walk away from everything and not knowing what next is was really scary, because I worked in retail since I was a teenager, and I went to school and I studied fashion, and I ended up working in retail management pretty much right after high school.
Mhm.
And I ended my career working as a luxury retail manager. And I think for me, that's usually the place where people get really excited, like, oh my God, I'm working in luxury retail. I get to be around all these designer clothes. Da, 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 da. And that was exciting. But at the same time, the clientele that I was working with and the behavior of those people really turned me off. And I want to believe that as human beings, it doesn't matter if we have $10 in your bank account, or if you have $1 million in your bank account, or $1 billion, like everyone should be treated the same. So just seeing the level of how people are catered to versus other people, there's just something about that that really turned my soul off. And again, because this is something I knew, this is the only thing I knew for a very long time. Like
Right.
the idea of walking away from that, I was like, no, I can't. What am I supposed to do? So I kind of like just, what's the word? I just sucked it up and just kept going. But then the disconnect was so apparent that I would wake up, right? And this is also around the time I was practicing yoga as well, right? So, I'll go to yoga class in the afternoon. I'll get home, I will have my dinner, relax, go to bed, wake up like super like blissful, happy, and then I walk into the building and there is like a dark cloud. It comes out of nowhere. It's like as soon as I walk into the building, I get
Mhm.
sad, I get depressed, I get moody. I don't really want to be there, but I had to be because I tell myself I need this because I need to pay my rent, I need to pay my bills, I need to be able to maintain a lifestyle, and this is the only way for me to do it. But I think it's just got to the point where like I couldn't even breathe. Like it was becoming very clear this was not for me. And again, I had no idea what was going to be next. And I literally just walked in one day and I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. And it made it easier for me to do that because the first thing I did was I got rid of my apartment and I put everything in storage. So I didn't really have to worry about like rent. And
Mhm.
then I briefly moved into my parents' place. But that wasn't working out either because I've been living with them since I was like in my early 20s. And as a grown
Mhm.
adult, it felt different.
Yeah.
So I literally I was like, I don't know what's next, but I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel so disconnected from myself and it was really interesting because fashion has been my passion since I was in high school and I knew but like by the time I was a sophomore in high school I knew exactly what I was going to study in college. I never looked at anything else. I was like, this is it. I knew it. So all I was looking for was like schools,
Right.
and how far away are they and stuff like that. So for me to walk away from all of that, it wasn't easy, but my mental health and my well-being became a priority to me. And I think the one thing that helped me make that decision was the yoga, right? The yoga really helped me step into my power and find my voice and to be able to articulate the things that I want in life, right? And to be able to say no to things that no longer serve me. And I realized the work that I was doing was really turning like you say, it was soul sucking. Like I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the people that I was working with. I didn't enjoy the atmosphere I was in. I didn't enjoy the I can never say that word right.
You're right.
The
Yeah.
hierarchy, I think that's how
Yeah.
you say it. I didn't like that aspect of it. I didn't like people. It's just so much about it. I just didn't like. I just knew I was done. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just listened to myself and I was very scared, but I was like, you know what? If this was where I was meant to be, I wouldn't have these feelings. The fact that this was coming on so strong was telling me that it was time to step away. And I just wanted to trust that intuition, that energy that was coming through. I wanted to trust that. And I walked away from everything. And I was like, and I remember, especially when I first got to the ashram, it was so hard for me to find peace with myself because I was like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Right? Because I originally came to the ashram to give myself time to figure out what is next, right? If I walk away from retail, what is next? So my whole time, my first few months here, instead of just letting whatever needs to come through, I was like, what's next? What's next? Like I was like writing different options out. Like, should I do this? Should I do this? What's next? What's next? And then I just got so overwhelmed with trying to figure out what was next. I wrote a letter to God.
Nice.
I and in the letter, to paraphrase or to summarize, I just said, I don't know what is next for me in this life. You know, I walked away from the one thing I have known for like almost a decade. I am gonna trust that whatever is next for me is going to come, and I'm just going to just go with the flow and just enjoy this process. And I think once I literally begin to let go of the idea of I have to figure this out now and just allow myself to just truly just focus on my healing, eventually when the time was right, it was revealed to me what I was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So, oh, I froze. I don't know if it's just me or if it's you.
Oh yeah, you froze, but I can still hear
Ah,
you though.
can you hear me okay though? Oh,
Oh
there
yeah,
we are.
there
Oh, here we
you
go.
go. You're back.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, but I'm very grateful and where I am right now in life, like I wouldn't change that for anything because I know deep down inside this is exactly where I'm supposed to be and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, you know.
Mm.
So at this point, it's all just about enjoying the ride. You know, I'm uh the passenger in the car and the
Right?
divine is
Like
the
kind of just
driver. Yeah.
surrendering. It's like the
Yeah.
ultimate surrender of like what I thought I was going to be doing
Yeah.
and what I thought was like going to be my life
Yeah.
is now
Yeah.
I'm it's not happening and I trust that and I surrender and it's kind of like I mean like I totally relate and thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that story because I think a lot of people need to hear that, need to hear that other people have gone through this, and that there is the fear, and then there's the letting go, the surrendering, and, understanding that there's like, there's a community of support too. So, you have places to go, you have, backups, you have safety nets, especially being amongst people like this who have been through like that kind of just shifting of one's life, which is exactly like, kind of what I experienced, even though deep down I always knew that, like, for me, it was like, I need to pay off my student loans. I need to pay off my student loans. So let me work at this place for 10 years, and then I'll go off and do my own thing and whatever. And then like, same thing, like I started having visceral reactions, like getting sick before work, or
Mm,
just like being bullied at work for being this
mm.
positive energy, and then people not knowing what to do with it. And so they like, why are you happy? You shouldn't be happy because we're all unhappy. So, and then they just try to push that onto you, and it feels like, oh my gosh, like me expressing joy is offending other people, which is crazy, but
Mm.
it's a process.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like on the other side of that, right, is that like happiness, joy, like serving, doing what you're really here to do, so many times I was like, is this what I'm doing? Like, am I supposed to be doing this? And like the moments where I like completely let go and was like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore, I would talk to someone and they'd completely shift, or like something would happen that would just make it so easy for me to do it, and I'm talking about Flow Jam here because it was like a stripping down of me having to surrender and give up so much of what I thought that I would be doing, to
Yeah.
now 10 years later, like, before, like I was like, couldn't even call myself a festival producer because it was like, what? Like, I'm a festival producer. And then like once I stepped into that role and surrendered to it, like, it just became easier and easier. And the people started showing up, and that starts to like provide you evidence that, you're supposed to like flow in this life. It's not really
Mm.
supposed to be a struggle. So when you are struggling, like when things aren't happening for you in the way that you think that you want them to, or it's just like this opportunity to see a different side for you to be like, is this really what I want? Maybe it's actually not, and the universe actually does have my back and is serving me in this way by not giving this to me, the thing that I think that I want. And then so it's a magical ride though. Like anyone who surrenders to it like comes out the other side and is just like, wow, I wish I
Yeah.
did 10 years ago.
Yeah, but even if the universe gives you what you want, just the like you can still receive what you want out of the universe, but there could still be a lesson in it, right? Because I was able to move pretty fast in my career path and got to where I will assume many people will love to be.
Yeah,
And reflecting back on my life choices, I realized that I needed to be there in order to come to that point in my life where I could walk away from it. So sometimes the things that we desire comes not because it's like, oh, finally, I got what I want. And
yeah,
yes, maybe that expression is there, but it could be there is a lesson in there, there is a wisdom in there. So are you in a place where you can actually tune into that and listen to what it is that the universe is saying by giving you that thing that you want or by not giving you that thing that you want, you know?
like,
So it's yeah, but I think to your point, surrendering and letting go is probably two of the biggest things that you can ever do in life when it comes to anything. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, just let go and surrender to the divine unfolding. Because I think so many times we feel like in order for things to happen for us, we have to control the process. And I'm here to tell you, nope, that's not how this works. That is not how this works. You're just gonna just stress yourself out and just create so much disharmony and imbalance in your life. Like, just let go. Just let go.
totally.
And it's not easy. Believe me, I'm here to tell you, letting go is not easy. But you have to find faith in something. Is the faith part is what truly allows us to surrender and let go. You have to believe in something. You have to put your belief in something. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if you're able to have that part down, that really helps to trust in something. Trusting in something really helps you to kind of step back and just, put your hands up. So
Mhm.
it's not easy, but it's possible for sure.
And we're here to tell you that it's possible. If you have any doubts, come take her workshop at Flow Jam, and she will guide you into surrendering to that flow and allow you to ecstatically dance and move your body in ways that maybe you haven't moved in a while. What I love about yoga, like I took a break off of yoga during the pandemic. I was a little not pleased with just like the things that were happening at yoga studios during the pandemic. So I took a break, and then I started doing Pilates, and I love Pilates now. I feel really good, but yoga, like when I get back on my yoga mat, and there's no replacement for it. There's no substitute. Yoga is like my love that transformed my life, like me going to Africa. I don't know if you know, that's why I was asking what part of West Africa, because originally, this seed planted in Tanzania in East Africa, and studying in Kenya with all, people from all over Africa. We raised $3,000 to go to get our teacher training, but then that $3,000 went for them to be able to have the training. So you got to like meet everyone that had been granted this opportunity, and you were practicing. I was practicing with like 70 other people from all across the world, mostly Africa. And just to hear the stories of how yoga changed their life, like getting them out of the slums, like them like taking like hours of bus rides just to get to the yoga studio, and then to be able to like teach and make money, and like that's something that they can do besides stealing or whatever that they need to do to survive. Now they're like shifting a whole community through yoga. And coming back from Africa was like just transform my life. I went back into, the World Bank working, and I'm working for a development institution that is like developing the world, right? Like developing in the way that Western society says that is a successful developed society. And then being on the ground in Africa and coming back, it was like, what am I doing? I'm literally doing nothing here. Like I'm pushing papers, I'm, posting on social media, and yeah, that could have lots of views, but like, am I helping someone on the ground in Africa? Like, I don't like that doesn't, I'm not sure. So for me, it was like me being like pushed out of the institution, almost like people saying I didn't belong here. And then like me just being like, I don't want to have to apply again, like applying to jobs and like sending in your applications and doing all that stuff. I was like, if I just put this energy towards, like building something of my own, that I think it would be more beneficial. And so like my tipping point was like basically a mirror of someone like me not being able to like almost do it myself. I had to have this mirror of people telling me, Meredith, like this is what brings you joy. Like and I'm very like open book, so like you can tell what I'm feeling on my face, so people were like experienced me like talking about Flow Jam, and then experienced me like talking about my job at the World Bank, and they were like, something's not right here. And I had to have that reflection to come back at me to say, okay, this isn't working for me. Like I'm starting to get physically sick. And so it was like that major surrender, and everything else just kind of like, flowed once you make that move, right? You have to make the move for those opportunities to come about. Otherwise it's not going to happen. So I see, because I have a coaching business, I have a lot of people coming into my coaching business and world, and I make them I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's what I can help you with. And then that there's like that fear of like investing time and money before you can see it yourself. And it's like that belief, that faith that you have to have in something to be able to like make a decision and move forward towards your joy, towards your surrendering, towards your letting go. And it's a whole process. But I think like festivals like this for sure are such catalysts for transformation and change in one's life, because you are surrounded by so many people that are walking this path and have done the work and can guide you through the process of getting that joy again, because we're all human beings. We were born in this body to experience joy and to create. Those are our only two duties as humans. So, you know, this festival space is like the space to tap into that inner knowing, that trust, the intuition, and to find, like, same thing when you look at the schedule, like there's going to be a lot of options to choose from, you know, like tapping into your intuition of like, what do I need? What is my body calling me to do? Where do I want to go? Because all of the people that are on this lineup and are facilitating workshops or doing a set with music on the main stage, they're like, they have medicine to bring. And only, you know, once you experience, you're not going to make a bad choice. There is no wrong choice on what, you know, workshop to take or whatever, but it is like, this is like practice of tuning into your intuition, what's calling to you now, and like showing up to experience something new and to learn something new and take it home and, you know, create the ripple effect as you go home, because it's all of us in this container that's so high vibe. We're all gonna, you know, go out into the world afterwards. And it's like kind of our responsibility to vibe up the rest of the, you know, the people that don't get to choose to come to this event, you know? So it's like, we want to take what we learned and create this ripple effect of healing so that we can have real change on the ground and transformation. So I'm really, thank you for sharing that story. It's such a powerful story of, you know, really tapping in and stepping into your power and letting go of everything that you knew and thought that you were going to be. And I love what you said about, you know, having to be there. Like for me too, it was like, I started at the World Bank. I was making like $17 an hour, which didn't even cover my bus ride into the city, like for the hour. But anyways, and then for me, it was like, I need to figure out this institution and like make, you know, like make some sort of headway. And then once I got to a point that I, you know, like had the 6-figure salary and had the, like the respect, it was like, oh, then I looked around and I was like, I don't see myself as any of these people, like the way that they lived, the things that they thought about, the things that they talked about, like the things that were important to them. I was definitely a black sheep in all of that. And so, if you're listening and you're out there and you're like, man, I'm really like, I have the same feeling about like what I'm doing with my life, come to Flow Jam, because you know, you're going to meet a lot of people that like have done the DC thing and have done the like high powered career thing. And a lot of people think that that's like, oh, that's my trajectory. That's all that there is. Like, that's what I'm going to do. Then when you come to a space like Flow Jam and you realize like all of these things that you could be doing that would serve you. And if I could just get like, you know, one person who leaves Flow Jam and decides that they, you know, like chooses their joy and their mental health and their physical health over, you know, any money, any fear of not, you know, surviving or not having a lifestyle, like, you know, talk to us, because we will help guide you through that process. Because my main goal as doing this work is to like really just show people the joy in life and like have, you know, the opportunity for people to heal at a deep, deep level so that they can actually make change and not just, you know, go to one yoga class a week and, you know, do it for the, you know, getting a good body, whatever. It's a completely different transformation. As you like said in your beginning story of like, I first went to yoga for the asana, like, you know, the yoga postures to get, you know, maybe fit or to look good or whatever. And it's so much more than that. And that's like what I think Flow Jam, like the lesson of Flow Jam too, is like, you see the schedule, you know, you're going to see like over 110 offerings on the schedule, but that's just like, it's like getting into like the space and meeting the people and like, going to a workshop or like not even going to a workshop. I mean, there's so many options, but just being in community with family and friends that, you can trust, that are going to show up over time, that this is like actually building relationships over time. It's it's like a whole nother level, like peeling the onion. It's just like, you're going to see the schedule come out and you're going to get really excited. The real medicine is like going in and surrendering and like letting it flow,
Yeah.
Plan out, like, this is what I said, like, people plan out their schedules. Oh, what time is this? What time is this? I'm going to go to this. And it's like, just come to the
It doesn't
stage.
happen that way.
See what happens. See what happens.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah. I think spaces like this, like Flow Jam, is just such a beautiful opportunity for so many people to just be inspired by all the different people that they meet and connect with and have conversations with, because we all share so many similarity in so many different ways, and you never know who you're gonna come in contact with and connect with. You don't know what their story is going to be, but when you get an opportunity to conversate with them and get to know them, it's almost like, wow, having someone like help ignite that fire in you can be the first step to working towards, whatever else life might have.
Years of time and frustration, like,
Yeah.
but like,
So
sometimes it takes getting somewhere to like really see that it's not for you. So everyone has their own journey and path, but sorry, I interrupted. What were you gonna say?
No, you're fine. I think I finished my thought, and if I didn't, I forgot what I was gonna say. So it's all good. I'm just happy for everyone that's gonna be there, and an opportunity for folks to connect with each other and get to know each other. Inspire and motivate each other, and build a community, thrive, share beautiful workshops. So I'm excited.
So close. 8
Yeah.
days. 8 days. So, okay. Well, before I take too much of your time, because I know we've gone over, but I love like just deep conversations and talking, and time is a thing that I struggle with. Making the schedule is really hard for me, because I'm like putting it in
It's
like as a
okay.
concrete thing. I'm like, this is hard. But anyways, I want to, before we wrap up, where can we find you? How can we connect with you? And where, I don't know if you saw, but like, where can we find you at Flow Gym as well?
Oh, well, I'm not really sure what I'm going to be tenting, but my workshop is going to be on, I have two classes that I'm offering. I have Body Liberation Journey, which is a movement class where we move through intrinsic and extrinsic movement. And that's going to be on Friday at 11:30 a.m. at Pinwheel, I believe. And also my second class, which is a yoga class, is Sunday at, I think, 9:45.
9, I think.
9. And that's also going to be at the Pinwheel as well. So those are the two places I'm going to be.
Well, no, your dance class is going to be in the Pine Forest.
Pine Forest. Oh, I'm sorry. Pine Forest. Correction. Pine Forest. But again, my name is Oyámie Kalima. So just look for my name on the schedule. There's no one else who shares my name. And to find or connect with me outside of plus, and if you see me at Flow Jam, feel free to stop me, say hello. If you see me on the dance floor, come dance with me. Let's have fun. Ask me anything you want to know. And if you want to connect with me outside of Flow Jam, you can follow any of my socials, or my website, and it's all the same name. I use Oyámie Kalima on everything, so you can just Google the name and all of my stuff will show up, which is quite nice.
Yes.
But I look forward to connecting with you guys. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I didn't see any questions. I see Christopher saying, love these vibes. Can't wait to flow. And I haven't checked Facebook, but no comments on Facebook yet. So,
okay, cool.
But if there are any questions, if there are any questions, just drop them below. Otherwise, also you can connect with Oyámie Kalima. Oh my God.
I don't even know what you just said. I don't know what
Say
you
it again.
just
This
said.
is like me in Tanzania when they were like teaching me people's names and they were like,
Ah, Lord mercy. You could just, I think when we first met, I was going by Ami, which is
me.
actually my birth name, Ami.
Okay. But say
And the
it
name
again.
that you see is my spiritual name, but you can
Oh,
call me Ami.
okay.
Yeah.
Wait, say it again though. Ami, and then what's your actual spiritual name? How do you pronounce it? Go slow.
Oyami,
Oyámie, Kalimat, right?
Oyami.
Oya,
Yeah, Oyami Kali Ma'at.
oh, Oyámie Kali Amat. Oyámie
No,
Kali
Ma'at.
Ma'at.
Ma,
Oy,
Ma'at. Yes.
Oyámie
Uh-huh.
Kali
Uh-huh.
Ma'at.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And I thought my name was hard, like 3 syllables, Meredith. This is like
Yeah.
not.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so
Well,
much for joining us. And
you're
everyone
welcome.
on Instagram, hi. Stephen the Explorer says, where is Flow Jam this year? It is at Verdun Adventure Bound, which is in Rixieville, Virginia. It's a beautiful, amazing venue that has a varietal of trees on it because the owner originally wanted it to be an arboretum. It has an amphitheater in the forest. It has amazing lake and pond. And it's just a really incredible property that we are so grateful to have and be on. And Verdun Adventure Bound is like in itself loves Flow Jam. And we were actually one of the first festivals that they allowed back, or they, not back, but they allowed first to have because they had bad experiences with festivals in the past, and then we came on board and showed them what quality is and how people actually care for their land, because I grew this on my own in my own backyard, so I have a very big uh communication around cleaning up after yourself and leaving the property really better than you left it or better than you found it. So anyways, they love us and they're like a family in itself, that they like support us and come help us at the event and like watch the event. So really grateful. So hopefully that answers your question, Stephen. I hope to see you there, Stephen. I would love for you to bring your cacao or any of your yummy fruits that you have. Maybe we could collab with Dave on bringing some like yummy homegrown organic tropical fruits to Flow Jam. Like that's on my manifestation list for the artists, to have yummy organic fruit. And yes, I could buy from Whole Foods or whatever, the local farmers market, but I also know that there are people out there watching that may have access or know farmers that would love to help us out and get their farm word out there and bring us some samples of your yummy treats that you grow on your farm for our artists. And yeah, so anyways, that was my little pitch there, but I will wrap this up now because we've gone a long time, but I am so grateful for you and thank you so much for joining us, and also see you at Flow Jam. So you can get your tickets at flowjamfestival.com. Tomorrow is the last day for our tier 2 sale, so get them now.
Yeah.
Before they go up, so that you can save that money and get an add-on workshop, do an ice bath, do vendor things. No reason not to save that money. Hi, Katie Randall. She just joined. If you guys are just joining now, be sure to check back. We're going to upload this interview on our YouTube along with all of the other interviews that we've done. I think I've done like 15 or so far, and you'll see them all on our YouTube channel. Check it out because this was a great story, especially if you are someone who is deciding whether or not their job is for them and they want to surrender to the flow. So, okay. Well,
Fun fact,
fun fact.
I think Katie is actually used to be one of my teachers at Yogaville. I mean, at Yoga District.
Really, Katie
I think
Randall?
so. So I'm really excited to see her
Good.
at Flow Jam.
Yes, she's coming. She's going to be helping with the fire tending, being a
Yeah.
firekeeper, and she's also going to be bringing her art, and she is driving across country now. And Katie, if you're listening, if you're still on, I think you are, you can stay at my house while on your traverse trip before about to get back to you about that. Can't promise it's going to be the cleanest, but you can stay at my house. All right. Well, I
This is
will
awesome.
speak to you soon,
Thank
and
you.
see you at Flow Jam in just like next week. I'll see you next
Yeah, yeah.
week. Okay.
Thank
Thanks.
you, everyone. Love you all. See you on the dance floor. Thank you, Meredith. Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy, everyone. Have a beautiful day, week, weekend, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye. Enjoy. Bye-bye.